Good morning, ladies. A little light on attendance this morning, but we're going to go ahead and get started. I am very happy to be here today in spite of all the rain. It looks like we have a sunny day, so pretty happy about that. But I wanted just a couple of reminders. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. We do have our celebration up on Town Hill, and a lot of people will be attending different events. Karen's going to talk about what's happening at Stratford Hall. We had a fabulous River Fest, so I'm looking forward to a lot of things that we're going to continue to do over the summer. But the important thing of this group is to network, because we have so many women business owners are co-owned or managed and are the face of our businesses, and it's really important. Next month we have a woman who's going to be speaking. Funny enough, I met her at a spa appointment that my daughter gifted me, and she's going to come and talk. She belongs to an organization called 2+2, and it's based on Deb and I know each other. Deb brings someone who doesn't know me, I bring someone that doesn't know her. And it's about building your network and getting to know people. She does it based through her church, but it was an organization that she was introduced to by a class that she took. So next month I want to challenge all of you to bring someone. It doesn't matter if they know anyone here, but try to build our attendance up a little bit. I know it's busy, I know it's summer, people are on vacation, but let's try to bring someone this next month to our meeting and try to build that network. We're going to go ahead and introduce everybody. Miss Karen Daly, our Executive Director or President of the Stratford Hall. She became president in 2021. She was previously the Executive Director of Dumbarton House, the Federal Period House Museum and headquarters of the National Society of the Colonial Dames of America in Washington, D.C. from 2008 to 2020. During her tenure at Dumbarton House, she oversaw strategic planning, institutional advancements, capital campaign, fundraising, renovations, and collection expansions. Quite a job. Hat off to you for that. Before becoming Executive Director in 2008, Karen served as an Education Director for 5 years, and earlier in her career taught 4th grade in the D.C. public school system. This has been quite a job.
It's an adventure.
Wow. Karen currently serves as president of the Virginia Association of Museums, one of the most active museum service organizations in the country. She also received the William E. Cochran Award by the Georgetown Citizens Association and the Communitarian Award from the Georgetown Business Association. Graduating magna cum laude with a Bachelor of Arts in Literary and Cultural Studies from the College of William and Mary, Karen then pursued her Master's of Arts in Teaching and Museum Education from the George Washington University. When not in residence at Stratford, Karen resides in Alexandria, Virginia with her husband Charles Daly, a high school history teacher in Fairfax County, and their 11-year-old daughter and 9-year-old son. Well, welcome, Karen. We want to hear all about you and Stratford Hall.
Kelly, thank you so much. And clearly I need to update that. My kids are now 14 and 12. I know. It's amazing. I was looking at some of the pictures as I was pulling some slides to share with you all. And from when I first started here at Stratford in 2021, I mean, they were just wee little ones, and now they're teenagers and lots of eye rolling. So it's a pleasure to be with you all today. It's a privilege to serve as president at Stratford Hall. So we are just up the road. If you're not familiar or new to the area, we're about 20 minutes away. You head down the neck on Route 3 Kings Highway and make a left at 214. So right past Westmoreland State Park before you hit the town of Montrose. So fellow Westmoreland County site here, with you all in Colonial Beach. And I have to say what an absolute, how absolutely grateful I have been for the warm welcome of so many, frankly, women in the community. When I started at Stratford in January of 2021, as you may recall, that was the middle of the pandemic. It was a strange time to join a new community. Kelly has been so immensely warm and welcoming from the beginning, Deb, and I've been truly inspired by the other women leaders that I met in my early days here in the Northern Neck. Melissa Coburn at George Washington's birthplace, she's the superintendent there. Your mayor, Robin Schick, who I met early in coming to town, who I just found inspiring. Shannon Kennedy, he's the president of the Rappahannock Community College. And so it was, frankly, unexpected, but a really lovely to see such a community of strong women in the Northern Neck to become a part of. So thank you for that warm welcome. Thank you for the inspiration that you provide, and for groups like this that work to support each other and to support our community here. I also realized when I started, and I'm not going to talk at you very much. I don't have prepared remarks, just some images. But my career has ultimately been spent, my museum career, entirely working on behalf of women's organizations that have been dedicated to historic preservation and education. So my first museum job after grad school was at the DAR Museum in Washington, D.C. Then, as Kelly mentioned, I went to Dumbarton House, which is the headquarters for the Colonial Dames, a women's lineage society with museum properties across the country. And now I'm here at Stratford, which has been led by, founded by, and is still governed by a board of women. And so these are some of our early board members. But I've always worked for women, and find that to be really, really motivating and inspiring as a woman in the field today, working on behalf of these organizations, and to learn and be able to tell the story of how women have been at the forefront of preservation in our nation, really from the beginning. It's the women who stand up and save these collections, save these historic buildings, pass on the cultural traditions, foodways and recipes and family history. And so it's really rewarding to be able to play a small part in stewarding this rich history today in the 21st century. And we've got, what I was going to ask on this slide was simply, how many of y'all have been to Stratford Hall over the years? Yes, okay, yay. How many have been in the last couple of years, post-COVID? Good, okay, wonderful. So I won't kind of regurgitate all the things that you already know. Have any of you worked on this team at Stratford before? I often meet people in the community who are like, I worked there when I was 20, and okay, so no former team members. Great to have you. I want to share, since many of you are familiar with the site, I want to share a little bit of our current direction, where we're heading, and I have a very short, promise, like 2-minute video that I think gives just a quick overview.
If this land could talk, what stories might it tell? Tales about primeval seas and prehistoric creatures that lived long before the dawn of man. About crystal clear waters, forests teeming with wildlife, verdant pastures, bright blue skies, and pitch black nights lit only by the stars. Of diverse indigenous communities who made homes and built vibrant societies here more than 12,000 years ago. If this land could talk, it would tell of the arrival of European settlers led by Captain John Smith, who sailed the Potomac with a charter from King James I in 1608. And of the purchase of these acres by Thomas Lee in 1717. It would tell the tale of enslaved Africans who toiled in the fields, cared for the livestock, cooked and cleaned, fired the clay, and laid the bricks to build the magnificent structures that still stand today. It would marvel at the courage of Richard Henry and Francis Lightfoot Lee as they signed the Declaration of Independence and with their family helped give birth to the United States of America. This land could tell us about radical thinkers like Hannah Lee Corbin, who challenged the status quo for women in terms similar to those used by her brothers to challenge British tyranny. And it could tell us about the rise of innovation and industry that helped make this country prosperous and powerful. This land would tell the story of the birth of Robert E. Lee, who rose to become superintendent of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, who leader of the armies of the Confederacy, and president of Washington College. It could tell of the emancipation of the enslaved people and their struggle to realize the inalienable rights promised in the documents signed by the Lees over a century before. If this land could talk, it would lead us in an honest reckoning with our shared past through its stories of decline and restoration, failures and victories, strength, perseverance, wisdom, and generosity. Perhaps this land really can talk. Perhaps this place can remind us that our freedom has come at a cost, and that we must fight on to preserve it, despite division, despite setbacks, and despite ourselves. In this place called Stratford Hall, people from around the world can find 2,000 acres of history, preserved and presented so that we can all learn from the courageous struggles of our ancestors, taking inspiration from what they endured and what they accomplished. For thousands of years, this land, known as Stratford Hall, has been giving voice to the triumphs, tragedies, and truths that led to the formation of our country. Perhaps it's time we all started listening.
Thank you. So I think that captures kind of better than I could quickly just an overview of the site, the history, and our current focus and work. And hopefully it gave you a sense that there's something for everyone at Stratford. My background is as a museum educator, as you heard Kelly say. So my passion is really in making historic sites and museums and collections accessible to as broad a public as possible. And so I want all of our visitors, all of our community members to be able to see themselves in our shared American history that we present at Stratford Hall. And I think that's a really important piece of what we're working to do today. Clearly, if your thing is architecture, we've got that in spades. So 1738 original Great House, as well as original outbuildings. So of course we know you can go down and visit Williamsburg, right, which is largely a reconstructed historic village. Here you've got the originals. These are the actual bricks fired by the actual enslaved Africans and African Americans on site. Timber framing from wood harvested from the site in the 1730s. You can actually come to a foodways program and enjoy food that's cooked and baked in the actual 1738 historic kitchen. Really incredible. We did some virtual programming, particularly during COVID, and those videos are still online. You can access them through our website or come out to our programs to see the kitchen in use today. We've got collections in exhibitions in the visitor center. If you want to learn more about the history of the site or the people who lived and worked there. We have an incredible assortment of Civil War era artifacts. As you might imagine, Stratford Hall was founded in 1929 to be preserved as the birthplace of Robert E. Lee. So in those early decades, we accumulated an incredible collection of Civil War related artifacts. Historic letters and documents, portraits and such, and today display them and also have a library where you can go and research more about the Civil War. If gardens are your thing, we have a formal landscaped east garden, which has been developed by the Garden Club of Virginia. We also work with a group of master gardeners, so if you'd like to get your hands dirty, literally, and are looking for a volunteer opportunity, we'd love to put you to work in the gardens. And we also have miles of trails on site. So you see here our overlook. We've got a lovely opportunity to be able to see the Potomac. We have 2 miles of Potomac River beachfront, primarily up on the cliffs, so a really beautiful view across to southern Maryland. You can see some of the ospreys, which I hope we can work to bring back, as well as eagles. We frequently, I can't tell you the number of times I've brought visitors down to the overlook, and just as we get there, the eagles that nest along the Potomac kind of swoop out, you know, as if on cue, and sail out along the Potomac to go fishing. If there are young people in your life, we've got hands-on history programs for schools, for families, so keep your eyes out for those. Paleontology is more your thing. The cliffs at Stratford have been really, I mean, they are the location of incredible Miocene fossils. And so we do fossil walks, fossil hunts throughout the year, guided paleontology excursions. We've got flyers about those here. And then you can also bring a group if you want to bring a specific group for a private fossil tour. We can do that for you. You can also come any day that we're open and the grounds are accessible, and you can just hunt for shark's teeth on the beach if you'd like. So wonderful paleontology. In July every year, we host First Africans Day, which commemorates the African and African Americans who truly built and sustained the plantation and the Lee family for generations. So join us for that. It's an incredibly powerful experience and has been one of the most professionally rewarding parts of my career, is building relationships with these African American descendants of Stratford Hall and welcoming them back to reconnect with their people. And at this incredible place. If you just want to have fun, we've got festivals. So Wine and Oyster is every spring, third weekend in September, every fall, third weekend in September. We also have a Brews and Barbecue Festival in the spring. We've been so grateful, we are so grateful to the Westmoreland County Museum, which partnered with us recently as we're navigating some ABC hurdles. But festivals are here to stay at Stratford, and we'd love for you to join us at those. We do have the historic buildings open and accessible during those. So in between enjoying your oysters and sipping on your wine, you can tour and get a dose of history. And some don't know, even folks who have been to Stratford many times don't always realize that we have lodging on site. And so we often partner with Kelly when we have an overflow for our events. We send folks to Colonial Beach. We would welcome your folks when you've got busy periods to come and stay with us at Stratford. It's just a short ride. But if you're even just looking for a little kind of staycation, we'd welcome you to come and join us. If you don't want to host your family and friends when they're in town at your own house, put them up with us. We've got 2 beautiful guest houses, which are perfect for like reunions or even like a corporate retreat or a meeting. Excuse me. And then we've got about 20, 25 cabins that are rustic, but that's a cabin there on the upper left and the bottom there, beautifully decorated by our board members. So they are rustic cabins in the woods, but they're a definite step up from what you'll find at our state parks, for example. I have to highlight June 7th, so please mark your calendars now. We are actively involved with our partners here throughout the region in our semi-quincentennial planning. So 2026, as you may realize, is the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and the founding of our nation. And so Stratford is heavily engaged in that as, you know, the home of the only 2 brothers to have signed the Declaration. Arthur Lee, who was a spy over in England for us during the Revolution. Hannah Corbin Lee, who was lobbying for women's rights. Light Horse Harry Lee, who was a controversial Revolutionary War. Yeah, controversial, so Karen knows. That's a whole nother presentation. But we've got lots of really significant Rev War history at Stratford, and so we're working to commemorate the semi-quincentennial. June 7th is the anniversary of Richard Henry offering the Resolution for Independence. So at the Continental Congress, he brought forth Virginia's resolution that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. And so it was those words that then got echoed by that other more famous, right, Virginian in the Declaration of Independence. So June 7th is the anniversary of the Lee Resolution of Independence. We just hosted our first Virginia Resolved event on June 7th earlier this month, and we'll host the 250th anniversary of the resolution next year in 2026. We're aiming for that to be a huge community event. We launched the day with a citizenship ceremony, and we welcomed, you can see them here, we welcomed 100 young new American citizens, ages 5 to like 35. I mean, it's profound. This picture here on the left is when they were doing the Call of Countries. So there were 39 different countries represented, from Canada through African nations, South America, Europe. It was an incredible assortment, and so you can see them jumping up and cheering when their country was involved. We also had different activities throughout the day for the new citizens and the public. So we had cavalry showcasing kind of Revolutionary War, a light dragoon unit. We had cooking demonstrations in the kitchen. We had the historic Great House open for touring and such. So next year will be even bigger and better. So join us for June 7th, 2026. And I just wanted to quickly share the incredible staff team that we have here at Stratford that I get to work with each and every day. They may well be your neighbors. So if any of the faces look familiar, this is our team working down the street from you all here at Stratford. And yeah, every season has something for you to enjoy at Stratford. This was just this past year, one of the snowfalls that we had back in January. Some incredible drone photography. And then this was the Northern Lights that our director of landscapes caught at night when we had that day where they were visible, just with the bare eye. And this is a cell phone photo. This is not a professional camera, which is incredible. So we would love to partner with, actively support the community in any way, so please don't hesitate to reach out if you see opportunities to work together. My card is there on the little table, and I'm happy to either help directly or put you in touch with somebody on the team who can help. And in turn, if you want to help us and support us at Stratford, we'd love for you to join us at any of our upcoming events. Spread the word far and wide about the work that we're doing. The Stratford Hall of 2025 is not the Stratford Hall that your grandmother might have experienced, right? Or that you might have grown up with. And so we want folks coming to experience both those warm memories they have, perhaps from their own childhood, but also to see all of the new activity that's going on in the work that we're doing at Stratford. Join us as a friend of Stratford. There's a specific Northern Neck rate. And so if you join as a friend, you can then come and visit for free throughout the year. You also get early access and notification about events. You can come to Christmastide, our lovely evening candlelight tour program for Christmas for free. So we'd love your support in any way that you're willing and able to connect with us. And yeah, just another beautiful image of Stratford with the night sky. We do believe, Stratford is clearly the Northern Neck's story, but it's also Virginia's story and all of America's story. And we as Northern Neckers are part of that Stratford story. So thank you for inviting me today. Thank you for all that you do to support our community and to support the rich history of this incredible community. And yeah, just a pleasure to know you all. I'd welcome you to come and visit us again soon.